in this situation lead this race. The most aggressive one. Find a way.
Man, it's incredible. How about Bristol on dirt, guys? This is incredible.
Hey race fans, Alex Weaver here for another episode of Backseat Drivers. A little bit different format. We raced on a Monday instead of a Sunday, and now we're coming to you on a Tuesday. But let me welcome in Jonathan Merryman, who we're used to here in the backseat. But now we have a special guest from ESPN, Ryan McGee, joining us. I didn't know we were going to be competing with the hair, the glasses challenge. You guys are just really putting me to shame here, and the NASCAR memorabilia. Look at that.
I just got a haircut. If I thought about it, I would have let it grow out. Knowing I was going to be talking to Merryman today, and you too, Alex. My hair was long till about 4 days ago, so I apologize. I should have rolled with the plan here.
Right,
I'm about to go 80s Bill Elliott, and we're gonna have to lay the spoiler down a little bit coming up. I got an appointment Thursday, so don't get too used to it.
Okay, well, good luck with that.
The mullet's coming. All right, so let's get right into things because a lot to talk about after the Bristol Dirt Race. It was a big weekend for NASCAR. So let's get into a segment we like to call left turn or right turn. Opposite directions, opposite opinions, and we love a good argument here in the backseat. First up, let's talk about dirt being the great equalizer. I feel like we sometimes talk about this when it comes to super speedways, but we saw a lot of different varying teams running up front on Monday's race. So, McGee, let's start with you. Can dirt be the new equalizer in NASCAR?
It can be. I mean, listen, we saw Ricky Stenhouse Jr., unfortunately for Ricky's not a regular in the top five. Ryan Newman hadn't been in the top five in forever. Daniel Suarez. I mean, there were a lot of names in there that we don't normally see. But that being said, by the end of the race, Kel Surprise, the really good teams were suddenly mixed in there. There's Chase Elliott, and there's Hendrick Motorsports, and of course Joey Logano won the race. So I think it could be an equalizer to a point, but it doesn't really matter what type of racetrack it is. At some point, I mean, the superpowers are still the superpowers, and that's who won the race.
Merryman?
I'm going to go a hard no here. I think the only argument I think you have is maybe Suarez. I think if we would have seen less dirt ringers get taken out, I think those guys would have been there. And I don't consider that to be an equalizer. That's their discipline. They should be up there running up front. But, to Ryan's point, we had a guy with no dirt experience come in and win the truck race and run really good in the cup race. We had Team Penske and Joey Logano win the cup race, and then a dirt ringer, finished second, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So, I mean, I guess it depends how you define equalizer, right? The dirt guys should have run well, and they did for the most part if they weren't wrecking. And then you had, the big teams in Kyle Busch Motorsports in the truck race and Logano and Team Penske win the race. So I'm going to say no. The fast cars are going to be fast. Doesn't matter what you put them on.
But it reminds me of road course racing back when everyone hated it. And, we'd go to Sonoma or we'd go wherever, and half the garage would be guys we've never seen before. Like, Hurley Haywood and, Bar Said and all these guys, and they never won the race. I mean, at the end of it would always be, they got a chance. And then at the end of the race, it was still always Dan Gurney's the last road ringer to win a race, and that was back in the 60s. So, yeah, it's an equalizer. It might get you to the top 10, might even get you to the top 5. But the big boys are going to win the race.
Well, 55% of NASCAR fans agreed with Ryan over there. It's no surprise. Sorry, Merryman. You have all of America against you. All right. So let's get into Bristol 2022 because 2021 is checked off. The last winner on dirt more than 50 years ago, Richard Petty. Now joining him was Joey Logano. So 2022 is going to be a good time there in Bristol Motor Speedway. They announced that it's coming back for the spring race next year. What's going to happen? Is this going to require that the rest of the drivers have more dirt experience, or does it not matter now that we saw that Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, those dirt guys are able to run up front? Merryman?
No, I mean, you look at Suarez. He was in a car, maybe 5 days before that, and he's sitting there, leading laps. You look at Truex, gets in the truck, wins a race, gets in the cup car, finishes top 5. Logano, he doesn't have any dirt experience. So I think it was fun to go for these guys to go run a dirt late model and get a layout of the track and figure out, you can't hit the dirtles because, it'll damage the race car, things like that. But the grand scheme of things, I think the biggest takeaway is, the truck race might do you some good, but going to run a dirt late model at Bristol is not going to prepare you for the cup race. So I say no. I say these guys, they know what they know, unless they, change the banking of the track or change the, if they run a dirt roval at Bristol, maybe they'll go run that. But I don't think, they need to go run any more than this.
And by the way, Alex, why do you think the King said that he didn't want him to run another dirt race? Because he was the last guy to win a dirt race, and he liked the fact that he was the last guy to win a dirt race. So I think that there will be guys entering in the truck race, but that's kind of it. I don't see. I look at who finished in the top 10. It didn't seem to be any benefit. The guys who ran a bunch of dirt races and won dirt races, a week ago in the late models and all that stuff. I mean, I still think guys are going to do it because it's fun. But I think that we'll just see entries in the truck series race like we saw this week.
Yeah, 2 drink words from the weekend. It was dirtle and fun. A lot of drivers said that it was fun, so that's always a good thing. All right, let's get into a segment that we like to call now Going the Wrong Way. This is a segment you don't necessarily want to be called out on, and unfortunately, being taken out pretty early in the race on Monday, we're calling out Eric Amarola and that number 10. Guys, the finishes so far this season are dismal. So can the 10 pull it around, get a win, and make the playoffs? McGee, I'm starting with you.
All right. So I was prepping for the show, which unlike Marty and McGee, I actually prepped for this show. But I was looking at it and it's, my gut is he'll be fine. Right. Because there's so many races left. I think it's ridiculous to just at this point, when March is ending, to eliminate anyone from the playoff, because with the format, you win a race, you're in. Problem is, he's like barely in the top 30. You got to be in the top 30 in points and win a race and get in. So I look at the tracks ahead, and there's a lot of them, and I still think he'll be okay but he's going to have to win a race. I really believe that.
I'm going to go with a hard no. I mean, he's good at Dover and he's good at the super speedways. So, I mean, he's got 3 chances in the remaining, 18 races I think we have left. So I just don't see it happening. I mean, he's sitting there right around 28th place in points. I do think he will up his point standings, but I mean, you have to be in the top 30 with a win to make the playoffs. So, I mean, he's flirting with that 30th place cutoff line. I think he's better than a 28th place, points finish. But, it's almost like that if it's out there on the racetrack, that 10 car is going to find it. He'll hit something, whether if it's any of his doing or somebody else's doing. So I don't see it happening. I mean, you have a 25 race regular season. We're through 7 of those right now. So that hill is really, really steep for that 10 car.
Well, let's flip the script and add the rest of the organization, all of Stewart-Haas Racing. No wins so far this season, and you have 2 new guys, basically, Cole Custer and Chase Briscoe, who Chase Briscoe had the Bristol Dirt Race kind of circled on his calendar and ended up not doing as well as he thought. And then Kevin Harvick, I think, has shocked everybody by not making it to victory lane so far. So, Ryan, what do you say about SHR over there?
They'll be okay. I mean, Kevin Harvick's certainly going to be okay. I just think they're still recovering from the way they stumbled across the finish line at the end of last season. But I was looking at it, and he won so many races last year. But at this point in the season a year ago, before we shut everything down, he won once, in the first third of the season, and then he just obviously dominated the summer. And so I think Kevin Harvick's going to be just fine. And if you're Chase Briscoe, you're disappointed. And but I want to apologize to him because I told everyone that they should probably pick him. And so hashtag McGee curse.
Yeah, he was in my lineup too. So we can start the McGee and the Weaver curse.
Yeah, there you go. Upstate South Carolina curse. Travers Weston Clemson. He was doomed.
All right, this next segment is our drive-through segment because here in the back seat, everybody gets hungry, so time to refuel. Let's keep these short and sweet, a little rapid-fire test for you guys. First up, let's say that there is no dirt experience. There's no such thing as a Chili Bowl. There's no such thing as Kyle Larson winning 40-plus times in 2020. No dirt experience. Just based off of Bristol Dirt Race, who in your mind is the best dirt racer? McGee, start with you.
Oh, Daniel Suarez. No, I'm just kidding. By the way, I love Suarez getting out of the car, and they're going, well, how'd you do that? And he immediately said, I honestly had no idea what I was doing. And so I give him credit for finishing where he finished. But listen, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., that's not exactly a championship contending team. And that car was not a great car, and it certainly was a dirt track like he's used to running. His background is in red clay like they have in East Tennessee down in Mississippi. But I think the fact that he pulled off what he pulled off, I said that going into the race, that he might be the best one. And now I don't have any reason not to say that now.
Yeah, I feel like I need to give like a 1776 America to that, to Stenhouse. He'll be really proud of that answer. All right, Merryman, who you got? Best dirt racer just off of Monday's race?
Truex impressed me the most, so I'm going to go with Martin. Won his first Truck Series race. He's now won a race in all 3 series. So there you go. Very accomplished.
Gave his flag away. I was a little surprised. Great story. The little girl got a great souvenir, but gave his flag away for her first one. All right. Which team is better right now in the garage? It's been the season of Hendrick Motorsports so far, but Team Penske as of late has started to show up, 2 wins in a row. So Merryman, who you taking, HMS or Team Penske?
I'll take Hendrick. I think they're more balanced across those 4 cars.
Okay, Ryan?
I'm going to take Penske simply because I do not want to agree with Merryman.
We love that. That's the best here. All right. And then last one here for the drive-through. Ryan, I'm going to start with you. Is the champion this year going to be older or younger than 30? Chase Elliott, much younger than 30 last year.
Yeah, I'm going to go with younger. And you know, I'm much older than either one of y'all. So I'm at this point in my life where, like, I remember when Chase Elliott was born. And I remember seeing him being carried down pit road at Daytona on his dad's. I know Bill Elliott was carrying Chase Elliott as a baby just because Bill didn't want to have to talk to anyone. So he didn't want to have to talk to any media. So I know what was going on. Earnhardt used to do the same thing with Tyler Nicole. But, yeah, I'm going to go with younger because that makes me feel older.
Okay. Merryman?
Kyle Larson's 28, so I'm going to go younger.
That's your champ pick. That was not your champ pick at the start of the season. Wow, things have changed. All right, this final segment here before we get into next week's race, we're going to call it the Burnout. This is essentially our version of a soapbox. So, Merryman, let's start with you. This was a really big weekend for NASCAR. A lot of fans had Bristol Dirt Race circled. I know last week with Kyle Petty, you mentioned kind of curbing those expectations. What did you think of those expectations this weekend?
The race itself exceeded my expectations. I think everybody's going to, you'll have your guys complain about the weather, but, it doesn't matter if that track is asphalt or dirt. The rain is rain. You can't race in it either way. I do think that the truck race was a nice appetizer for the main course we had in that cup race. I think it was a slam dunk. Marcus Smith and Speedway Motorsports Inc., they had the same questions when they told them they were going to do the roval. That can't work. That's not going to work. It worked. You can't do it with Bristol Dirt. Well, they did it in the early 2000s. They didn't do it in the Cup Series, but I think it did work. I think we learned some things. I think we'll tweak some things. I think we'll see an entirely different, maybe even a better product when we go back there last year. But I loved it. It was a nice break. It did give us a little bit of parity there in the early stages. But as we talked about before, your powerhouses are going to be your powerhouses, and they got the job done. But I absolutely loved it. Let's put dirt on every racetrack. What do you think about a dirt Talladega, McGee?
All right. So that's what I don't want them to do. Right. But because I remember when they rolled out lights at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was the coolest thing of all time in 1982. And by the end of the decade, every track had lights. And so it wasn't cool anymore. And then it was road course racing. I worry that there's going to be too many road course races. And when the trucks went to Eldora in 2013, I loved it. I said I loved it. Everybody loved it. And I was like, this is cool, but let's not kill the goose looking for golden eggs. Let's keep it unique. I worry about that with Rovals. Let's not roll out 19 Rovals. Let's make it unique and keep it unique. So that's my concern. But listen, everybody that was flipping out halfway through the race on Monday, why'd I even look at Twitter, right? I mean, it was. I tweeted this yesterday, so you should look at Twitter at ESPN McGee. And I said in 2010, everybody's like, NASCAR is not real racing because they don't race on dirt. And then in 2013, it was, well, the trucks are at Eldora, but that doesn't really matter because that's not the Cup Series. And so on Monday, it was, well, yeah, the Cup Series is on dirt, but it ain't a real dirt track. I can't help you people. That thing was great. Yes, it was dusty, but guess what? They're dusty. I was there in 2000 for the World of Outlaws at Bristol, and I'm still Q-tipping dust out of my ears from that 21 years ago. So that thing was great. It was a great show, and it got a little questionable in the middle, but the beginning was great, and the end was great. And at the end of the day, that's all I need.
Now, next up is Martinsville. So far, we've had 7 different winners in this season, and it really is kind of living up to one of the best seasons, at least as far as storylines and things to talk about. So, Ryan, you're a guest here on the show. 8 different winners. Does it happen at Martinsville in 2 weeks?
I got Denny Hamlin at Martinsville. I mean, I've watched Denny Hamlin win. I watched him win in the Allison Legacy Series back when he was a teenager, which were these basically Bandolero cars with the Allison brothers' name on it. And he has been going to Martinsville. We call Richmond Denny Hamlin's home track because he grew up in Richmond and right around the corner from the racetrack. But the reality is his home track is Martinsville. And so I think that Denny Hamlin is going to, as they said in Bull Durham, announce his presence with authority when we get to the paperclip in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that would be 8 different winners. So I'm all here for it. Let's go for it. Merryman, 8 different winners at Martinsville?
Yeah, and Denny's on my short list to watch. Chase is on my short list to watch.
Oh,
but my winner's
short list. Ryan, this is always what happens. I ask for a winner, he gives
my
me a
lock
short
is
list.
my lock is Keselowski. I think Keselowski's got a chance to double up when we go to Martinsville and Richmond because he was so dominant on the short tracks last season. I think that's really where that team's going to flex their muscle. I'm taking the 2 at Martinsville.
All right. Well, before Ryan was even on the show, I have it written down on a Post-it note right beside my computer. The 11, I got to go with Denny Hamlin at Martinsville. I think he's just a short track ace. I'm going with him. All right, Ryan, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I hate that we missed you in all the media centers this year, but we're looking forward to hopefully when we're all back together soon and keep Marty Smith in line. I know that's really difficult.
I will do it. Yeah, Daytona, I was like hunkered over in the corner with my mask on. Next time I see you guys, I'll actually, yay! So thanks for having me today. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you. Make sure that you tune in to Martinsville. We're racing under the lights Saturday, April 10th at 7:30 p.m. on FS1. You're not going to want to miss that one. NASCAR will be back in 2 weeks, and so will the Backseat Drivers. We'll see you then.